obviously we got thrown into distance learning a day early, and we honestly didn't get a lot of warning that was going to happen. So thank you all for showing up today, and we're going to continue. Like, this isn't going to change our pacing or anything like that. We're going to continue to work and do our projects and continue forward. So we're just going to reset back to what we were doing. But the good news is we have not changed a lot of what we were doing, because half of the time you were at home distance learning like this anyway. So hopefully this is a short period, but as we know how things go, this could be a long process before we go back. Okay. Looking at the agenda, and I'm looking at 5th, 6th period. Let me look at, and let me make a note of this. I had told people yesterday, I told you all yesterday, that starting Monday, 5th and 6th period will start at noon. But today we didn't want to switch things up on a Friday. It starts at 11:30, like every day has been for the last few weeks. Okay. So 11:30, class starts today, 5th and 6th period. So right after this class, and you'll kind of have a lunch break normally, and the teacher will kind of run it however they want to run it. But your class will start at 11:30. Let me go to 3rd and 4th period here. All right, so the first thing is, and hopefully you've read through this, but I'm going to go through it with you all. Make sure you've submitted your writing for No Red Ink assignment, the guided draft argumentative writing district practice. So what we've been working on in No Red Ink, you need to go over to No Red Ink, and you need to make sure to hit submit writing. So I'll look at that with you all to make sure everybody's on the same page. Sorry, it logged me out for some reason. But you need to go in there right now. So everybody go and double check, because this is the first step in getting credit. And there's a couple of steps that we need to do, because this is a district submission that we need to make. So I'm going to do view as a No Red Ink student. Let's go in here. So you've done your writing down here. I said you should have a minimum of 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs. So an introduction, a body paragraph, a counter argument, and a conclusion at minimum. We hope for 5 paragraphs with 2 body paragraphs. But if you did 4, that's okay for this practice. But you're going to go up here and you're going to hit submit writing. Okay. And I don't care if you don't have those all done. Well, you can wait and you can submit after you get them done. But before the end of class, you have to hit submit writing. Okay. And so hopefully you've already been to that point. You can hit submit writing and you're good to go. Now let's head back to Echo. And what I want you to do now, and everyone go ahead and do this, even if you're not done with your writing, which hopefully you are, you are going to click on the following link to enroll in a Google Classroom, because to submit this to the district, you all have to enroll in my Google Classroom, okay? Because we can't submit it through Echo, okay? We have to submit it through Google Classroom. And it's pretty easy. All you do is you click on this link, and it will, I don't like that it takes you away from Echo. Hold on, if you've already clicked on it, that's fine, but I'm going to change the link so it doesn't take you away from Echo. But you're going to click on that link, and then it's just going to be like anything else you sign up for. You're going to log in through Google and get everything where you need it to go. So if you click on this, eventually you should get to something that looks like this, okay? It should say World Studies at the top, and you should see kind of this orangey color at the top with some flags. And then once you hit here, I'll pause for a second, let everybody get there. If you are having trouble getting to this page, you need to speak up so you can share your screen and we can get you to this point, okay? Because you have to do this part of this to get credit on this assignment, okay? If you don't submit it to the Google Classroom, I can't give you credit on the assignment because I can't turn it in, okay? So everyone get to this point. If you are struggling, you need to let me know. Okay, once you are to this point, I want you to go to classwork, and then I want you to click on the assignment that's in classwork. It should say guided draft, okay, argumentative writing, guided draft, just like what we just did in No Red Ink. Click on that, and you should see these instructions. It'll probably take you into it, and I already see that 17 people, 18 people have joined the class, and 3 people have turned it in, okay? Yours is going to be a little bit different from what mine looks like, but essentially it's going to say, open the Google Doc that is provided to the right of this information. It is listed under your work. When you click on that, it's just like clicking a template in Echo. It will open up a Google Doc for you, okay? And it will have that linked to your account in that Google Classroom, okay? You are then going to go and copy and paste your writing from No Red Ink into the Google Doc that you just opened. So that Google Doc that just popped open for you, you're going to go to No Red Ink and you're going to copy your writing and paste it into there. So Mason, you're saying there isn't a thing underneath your work. So there's no Google Doc available to you? Like there's not a little Google Doc link? The only Google Doc on the page is the one everyone has access to. So everyone's on the same Google Doc? Okay, I see what happened. Okay, give me just a second. Let me edit this, and then we'll. All right, so I made a mistake. Go back and refresh your Google Classroom page, and you are going to. Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen still. Yep, I'm still sharing my screen. And now you should see an assignment that says guided draft. You're going to do the exact same thing. Click on it, and then you're going to go over to the Google Doc that's available, and now it should make you an individual copy of that you can now copy and paste and then hit submit. Can someone let me know in the Google chat if that is working for you? Okay, so I'm hearing from a lot of you all that the problem is fixed and we are good to go. So let me repeat what you're doing. So we're starting at World Studies. You're clicking on the link. You're adding yourself to the class. So click on that Google Classroom link right there. You're going to add yourself to the Google Classroom. And then you are going to, once you're in there, it should look something. I'll go back to the class. It should look something like this. It just says World Studies here. And then you go to Classwork. And then you're looking for Guided Draft. So you're looking for Guided Draft. Right there. Once you click on Guided Draft, you're going to click on the Google Doc that's available to you. You're going to copy and paste all of that in. Now, do not forget to go back once you copied and pasted everything from No Red Ink. Go back to the assignment and hit the Turn In button. Because if you don't hit Turn In, say I've got 18 people trying to work on this, but I only have 5 turned it in. Okay? So if I'm looking at people in the class, you can see everyone that I've got in the class. And it looks like a lot of people have signed up, and y'all have done a good job getting into the class. I've got 23 students, which I've got 31 watching this Google Meet right now. So I've got at least 7 of you all that have not done this. So if you have not gotten into the Google Classroom, you need to explain why. Or you need to get in there right now. Okay. Echo here. All right, let's head back over to Echo, and we're going to look at benchmark 5 together, okay? So let's take a look at benchmark 5. And I know that quite a few of you all were on top of it yesterday, and you even got benchmark 5 done. But I wanted to look through it together so that you could really understand what's going on, and I want to make sure everybody's on the same page, okay? So I am having to adapt what this project looks like in the end because we're going to have to do this distance learning. I was going to bring you all together and have you like actually create a physical like profile and everything. So we're going to have to like modify, but this is the first step to answer that need to know of what is my hero like? Who is my hero? What's their name? What do they look like? What are their personality types? So on and so forth. So there's 4 steps, I believe. 1, 2, 3, and my computer's slow right now. Yeah, 4 steps that you need to do on this assignment. And really, this is what you want to make. Don't over stress it. Don't overdo it in the fact that, like, I'm not going to grade you on what you made your hero look like. I'm looking for you to make effort and to be creatively thinking, and this is just your opportunity to have fun with it, okay? What I would do if I were you, if you're just like, I have no idea who I want to make as my hero, think of a hero that exists right now, and you can kind of build it off of them, and maybe you can take 2 heroes and put them together. Now, one of the questions in Need to Know is, can we have a superhero, someone that has like Superman or Spider-Man or something like that? We're kind of wanting to go away from that, not those extreme powers, but you can think Odysseus in the fact that he didn't have any superhuman god powers, anything like that, but he was very clever, very smart, very strong, good leader, things like that. So they're still human, and maybe they have some mystical abilities and things like that. We can be a little flexible with that if you're really passionate about it, but for the most part, they're not going to be superhuman. Okay. And if you're really passionate about it and you had this like idea the whole time, get with me on the side and we can talk about it. We probably work something out, but I don't want to really go off the deep end with this. And that's not what Big Bang's looking for either. All right. So let's look at the common archetypes. Okay. So archetypes are this arc of a character, who this character is and what kind of person they are. Okay. So we see a lot of different topics, and you're going to choose one of these. So they can be creative, athletic, caregiver, visionary, royal, performer, all these different. And then you kind of have examples or like what kind of person this is going to be. The one that we looked at is Odysseus, and he was a warrior, okay? So you can just pick one of these, and it can change as you're doing this. If you're like, ooh, actually, I'm thinking about something else. I want to make them a different type of person. That's okay. But this is a good place to start to kind of think of what kind of person they are. Okay. Any questions on the archetypes? So it's pretty straightforward. You're just kind of picking what kind of like type of hero they are, what type of person. And then we get into number 2, which are what are the physical traits and personality of your character? For each of these, I'm looking for a very brief response. Like, is it a man or woman or male or female? What's their name? And don't spend a ton of time on their name. Jot down an idea. Obviously, if they are, and you might want to do, you could even look up like what are names from the Japanese Empire or from the Mayan Empire or something like that. And you can take names from there, and it pretty flexible on that. Height, size and build. Like size and build means like, are they a large, like muscular person, or are they thin and slight, or medium person? Kind of explain their size or their build. Hair, facial hair, beard. Do they have long flowing hair? Do they have no hair at all? Color of eyes. Any other interesting features that you want to throw in there? Scars, tattoos, weaponry, eye patch. You can have fun with this. I'm not expecting a ton of information on this, but if you're excited about this and you want to go deep, that's fine. Clothing, describe the type of clothing they're wearing. Are they wearing robes? Are they wearing a tunic? Are they wearing, armor? What are they wearing? And then how would you describe their personality? If you're going to introduce your character to someone, how would you describe their personality? And again, this can be very simple, and you're just kind of brainstorming and just kind of having fun with it, okay? So don't stress too heavily on these kind of light personality character details. It's just getting something built in your mind. And again, you can think about a hero and kind of build off of them, or a person that you know and kind of build them off of them. Okay. So number 3, write down the obstacles or strengths that your character faces. So on each of these, we have an example from the Odyssey reading that we did. Okay. So whenever you're looking at this, you're going to be kind of reminding yourself from the Odyssey. Okay. So an example of this is the Odyssey, to return home, life purpose. So his life purpose, so for Odysseus, his life purpose was to return home after the fall of Troy, to be known as a great warrior or hero. So you're going to come up with your own character's purpose. And this can be very simple. It could be to save their civilization, to help the poor people in their civilization, to find their way home like Odysseus, to win a war, to vanquish an enemy, whatever it can be. It can be very light, very vague, okay, or very, very broad idea. Or you can be very specific if you're one of those people that has like a really good idea about this. The next one is the unique challenge. Okay, so what is their challenge? For example, the Odyssey, he had angered Zeus, and therefore his return home was extremely difficult. So why are they fighting for this life purpose? Okay, so let's say in the first one, you said that they are trying to win a war. Okay, so the unique challenge is to beat an enemy that is much stronger than them. Okay, that could be the unique challenge. Or the unique challenge could be to get food for the civilization because they had a drought and they're starving, or they're trying to save someone. Okay, this can kind of be their unique challenge. So let's talk about antagonists. So there is the protagonist, which is pro is good, so kind of like the good guy, which is the hero you're creating. The antagonist is the anti, or the against the good guy. So who is going against, what force, character, group is going against the protagonist, okay? Are they going against the city? Are they going against the leadership? Are they going against a person, a god? What are they going against, okay? For the Odyssey, he had a few antagonists, like the Cyclops or Zeus, or even Poseidon. So you can choose kind of who's going up against your person. The next one is the lesson to learn, their greatest weakness, okay? So we knew that Odysseus's greatest weakness was pride. So what is your character's greatest weakness? Is it that they're not accepted by people? Is it that they're too arrogant or prideful like Odysseus? Are they, is there a physical thing like they can't travel to a certain place, or, they're not good enough or something like that? What is their kind of weakness? Okay. And I know that's a tough one to come up with, but kind of brainstorm and try to think of something. And then defining characteristic. So what makes them kind of great? Okay. Kind of like, what is their power? Okay. What are they really good at? So for example, in the Odyssey, Odysseus was egotistical, stubborn, clever. He was a leader. He was strong. So what are the things that kind of set them apart? So are they really wise, really smart, really strong? Are they a good leader? Are they passionate? Are they caring? Do they love for people? Do they, whatever you can think of. And you can kind of pull from other heroes in like books and movies you've seen and kind of be like their own built into this civilization. And then the last part, so the top 3 are kind of quick, just ideas. This last part is where you're going to come up with a real conflict. So you're going to take that antagonist that you came up with from the top, and you're really going to figure out what this antagonist, who's the bad guy, who they're in conflict with. So in a story, there's conflict. The conflict is the primary problem that drives the plot of the story. Often the main goal for the protagonist is to achieve or overcome the antagonist. And in a conflict, we have 4 different kind of conflicts we're looking at. There's many different ones, but we're kind of looking at 4 different ones. And then I have a link for you to watch each of these examples. And I want you to watch those on your own, because I think if I play them, then the sound will be messed up and things like that. But you should kind of know these just from the top of your head. Maybe not, I'll explain them. But the first one is person versus person. person versus person is the one in movies and books we see more often than any, okay? Because it's like our protagonist hero character versus an antagonist, someone that's trying to stop them or trying to go against them. And a classic example of this is Harry Potter versus Lord Voldemort, okay? So that's Harry Potter versus Lord Voldemort, and this is the scene from Harry Potter and the Goblet of what is it? The Goblet of I'm blanking now.
Which one?
Goblet of Fire, is that what it is? Goblet of Fire. Sorry, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So where they fight each other. So that's person versus person. You can watch that. That's our classic, like two humans or two people, two persons fighting against one another. Okay. The second is person. So our hero versus nature. Okay. So if you've never seen the movie Twister, it's an amazing movie. A lot of fun. If you're scared of storms and things like that, probably not the movie for you. But basically, it's these scientists who are trying to figure out how tornadoes work and trying to make an early warning system. And they're storm chasers, okay? And they chase tornadoes. So they're kind of trying to survive the tornado, okay? And we see this in other movies, you could almost say person versus nature could also be like a zombie movie, like nature, the zombies are trying to kill them. You could also say like movies where they're trying to survive the cold or storms or the winter or the sea or something like that. So it's person versus nature. And you can kind of come up with those. The third is person versus society. And I have this movie called Rudy here. And if you haven't seen Rudy, Rudy's an amazing movie about a young man who wants to go to the school Notre Dame. Okay, Notre Dame is classically known for having a wonderful, great football team, but it's also an Ivy League school where you have to be really intelligent and have great grades to get into this. And this character, Rudy, has society telling him there's no way you're going to be able to play football at Notre Dame. There's no way you're going to be able to go to school at Notre Dame because you're too small, you're too slow, you don't have good enough grades, all these things. He's told this throughout his life by his parents, by his teachers, by society, by everyone that's in his life. They're like, you can't do this. And the movie's all about him overcoming that and becoming a football player at Notre Dame. And I won't ruin, that kind of ruins the story a little bit, but I won't go into detail how the movie ends because it's a really great movie. And this kind of gives you, I guess the clip here does kind of ruin the movie for you, but you can see how he overcomes all of that. So that's person versus society. We also see these in a lot of books and things like that. If you've ever seen The Hunger Games is a great example of person versus society, where Katniss Everdeen overcomes the society that is forcing them into those events like the Hunger Games. So if you've ever seen that, that's another great example of person versus society. The fourth conflict is person versus self. So this is where it's kind of an internal struggle of kind of getting over who you are. Now, it's interesting because in every one of these movies that I've mentioned, there is an aspect of person versus self. Even in the Odyssey, we see a bit of person versus self because it's overcoming kind of their struggles, overcoming what they believe they are, okay? And I put in here the movie Aladdin because Aladdin, and I wanted to also show the diversity. So we have everything from kids' movies to cartoons to kind of horror movies and Twister. It's not really horror, but a scary movie. But Aladdin is, and you most likely have seen this movie, but a boy that grew up in poverty who had to convince himself that he was more than that. And, the whole movie is about him wanting to become a prince, and he never had to be a prince to win the princess or whatever. So it's his self versus himself. So his person versus his self, okay? So you're going to choose one of those to kind of write a conflict about, kind of coming up with kind of a light, like very simple conflict, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to highlight one of these. So is it person versus nature, person versus society, person versus self. So What you're going to do is provide a brief description of who or what the antagonist would be in your story. Okay? Provide a brief description of the conflict between the protagonist and the antagonist, the force, the person, or the group that is against your hero. Provide at least 4 sentences of information. You're welcome to write more if you'd like. So you're basically just choosing who the antagonist is. Is it a person? Is it nature? Is it society itself? Or is it the person itself? And you're going to kind of just jot down an idea of like how they can overcome this. Now, if you're really, really struggling to come up with how to do this, you can kind of build off of what you've seen in these examples. Okay. I'm not expecting you all to come up with, every single one of you all to come up with this novel idea that's never been heard before, because that's really difficult. And we're just kind of experimenting with these ideas. So if you kind of want to, don't give me the exact same details, same names, all that stuff. But if you kind of want to build it off of one of these ideas, that's okay. I'm not going to go in here and be like, that sounds a lot like this show or this movie or this character. I'm okay with it because we're just kind of having fun with this and we're kind of exploring what this could look like. Okay. So that is benchmark 5. Real quick, are there any questions on any of those sections, 1 through 4? Anything that comes up? Okay, if you do, hang out in the Google Meet in a little bit before I dismiss you all. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is, and this is not in the agenda, but I have about, if I take the whole freshman class, all my classes and put them together, I've got about 12 people that have not taken the test that you all just took, either at the beginning of this week or the end of last week, okay? So they're going to have to, I was going to make them come in and take it in person, but obviously we can't do that anymore. So my next step is to let them take it online. But obviously there's no way for me to really police that and make sure they're not using their phone or, you know, using another computer or something like that, obviously. So I still want them to take the test, but it kind of makes it an open book test for them. And I think it's unfair for everyone that took it in person not to have that chance. So what I'm doing right now, and I haven't finished it yet, but I'm making an online version of this test. And how this is going to work is you are going to keep the grade if you've already taken it. If you have not taken it yet, you have to take this. But if you want to keep the grade that you got, like let's say you got a B+ and you're happy with it, or you got an A and you're happy with it, you don't want to have to retake the test, you don't have to. But if you want to retake the test, because I'm allowing those students to do kind of an at-home open book test because I can't police it, then you are welcome to retake the test. I will have that available probably before the end of this class. I just need to finish up a couple of things because I didn't realize I'd have to do that this morning to make it available. So long story short, if you want to retake that test, then it will be available to you in Echo, and I will make an announcement. Now you have until the end of next week to do that. And if you were absent, I'm giving you until the end of next week to find time to take that. Okay. And if you are a person that was absent and did not take the test, then you will get a 0 on it. If you don't retake the test and you've already taken it and gotten a grade on it, then your grade will stay the same. Now, if you retake the test, whatever grade you get when you retake it will be your final grade. If it somehow is lower than your first test, then you will take the final, whatever you take on this second one will be your final grade, okay? So if you take it again, obviously it's open book and you can use your notes and you can use, you know, everything you need to use. It'll be your grade. Okay, I'm not going to go in there and pick the higher grade. It'll just be locked in. Any questions about that? Okay, so what I'm going to leave you to do, if you have not finished the No Red Ink, go finish that, get it submitted to the Google Classroom. If you're done with that, then you're doing Benchmark 5, which is due today. We are moving on Monday. You have to get Benchmark 5 done. And then if you want to retake the test, I'm going to get that finished right now so that you have it available. All right, you may leave the Google Meet. Make sure you're getting those things done. Thank you.